It's alive!
How do we know she is alive?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
No wire hangers ever!
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Relax. It's all in bad taste.
I didn't realise we were
even-
recording.
even
Always,
when
no
we're doing
matter
this,
what.
just- yeah, you should
Never break lips
I
with
might-
the microphone.
get like a little head harness for her where she just kind of stays in one place where she can't move her fucking head around.
Like a saw contraption.
No, more of a neck brace.
If you move, your neck just snaps in two. Like, it's a pretty quick, you have a like rotating door of hosts. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Wait, no, I want to do it in a Scottish accent.
No, don't. Cultural appropriation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bad Taste Buds, the podcast where we
Was
talk.
that not in Scottish?
I
I thought you were doing it in a Scottish
yeah, but
accent.
fuck.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bad Taste Buds podcast.
That's Irish.
Hello, everyone. What am I doing it in Scottish or normal?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bad
is
Taste
the worst
Buds,
intro
the
so far.
podcast where we talk trash about the very best of bad cinema.
I'm
That was okay, yeah.
I'm not doing it in Scottish. It's English from now. Wait, Scottish is English,
Fuck
right?
British, mate.
British from now on. It is. And you'll like it or you'll
Right,
like
can we
it.
just
Will.
Just 45 minutes of this.
Can we just scrap all of this and start again, please?
I'm your host Liam, and joining me today we have all the usual suspects. We have our main Wicker Man Jack over there. How have you been, Jack?
Not so bad. Not
Yeah,
so bad.
just-
Enjoyed the 1973 one we watched last night
Yeah.
in prep for this.
Had a little nice little film fest. And as always, joining him, his better half, and voted most likely to be sacrificed in this kind of situation, Hannah.
Like I need to.
Sad but true.
Sad but true.
Hello.
And I didn't even give you a chance to say hello. Like, nah, you're done. And last but not least, we all, as always, we have
I am not the bees, I am Ryan.
Ryan Sheen joining us today there. Yep, and we are taking a merry old jaunt to the Isle of Scotland. Again, we're quite familiar with Scotland. We live literally like a couple hours away from Scotland for those listeners who don't know where we live. I don't know why you'd know where we live. But this is like...
I think the accents are a bit of a dead giveaway, to be honest, though.
Probably, yeah. This
Yours
is like...
might be. Ryan apparently sounds like he's from Yorkshire, doesn't he? So.
According to Ryan.
Oh, it's not what I meant. I was speaking lazily.
Yeah, Ryan and no one else.
All right.
Just dropping letters left, right, and centre.
Every
Just lost
person
our
who,
entire Yorkshire, like, following.
Every person who listened to that episode said you don't sound anything like you're from Yorkshire. Like, that was the biggest takeaway from the troll trail. No one cared about the content or what we had to talk about. It was Ryan doesn't sound like he's from Yorkshire.
I'm aware of the fact I didn't sound Yorkshire. I more meant metaphorically, they suck.
Oh my god, Ryan, stop being horrible
Wow.
to people from fucking Yorkshire. It's not okay.
My hand's my main input for that.
I mean, we all have. I love Scotland. Like, this is like a
Well, we
travel
spent
podcast
2 weeks
now.
there,
We
didn't we?
literally our last holiday before all the craziness. Wait, no, it was like mid. It was like
Pre-COVID.
mid craziness, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that time where we were sort of semi-let out for
Let
a bit.
out, but not let out. We had a little jaunt up to. We did a little camper van trip to what would they kind of the north? What's it called?
North Coast 500.
That's the North Coast 500, and we did Skye, which
Which is featured in the
yeah,
original.
you see a little layover where they show you kind of different parts of Scotland. So today, if you haven't guessed, based on the Scottishness of this whole thing, and then kind of
We're watching Braveheart.
we're watching The Wicker Man. We're ready to release some bees.
Please stop.
Ready to release some bees into the world. So this is the 2006 version of The Wicker Man coming out 30 years after the. I mean, I'm going to say phenomenal original, which is going to be our point 5. So I'm not going to spend too long talking about the original, but massive shoes to fill, really. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge
get on
film.
over there and listen to the point 5.
Yeah. Do listen to that, which should be out a couple of days after you listen to this one. Based on a 1967 book called The Ritual, which I've not read. I don't know if any of you guys have.
Nope.
No, I haven't actually, but I definitely think I'll put it on my list, considering the movie was such a banger.
Yeah.
Not know it was a book.
But the big question for today, Nicolas Cage, good or bad?
That's the takeaway, right? That's the one we want to kind of. I love him. I don't have anything bad to say about him. Even when he's bad, he's fucking brilliant.
So we went through a list of all of Nicolas Cage's films earlier, and I have seen none of them.
Apparently none.
So this is my introduction to Nicolas Cage, which is an interesting start.
It's really good you're on the pop culture podcast, isn't it?
I
Absolutely.
don't know how you managed to get away with not watching a single. He's in most of them.
I thought you said you'd seen Face Off.
No. I just know that Gina Gershon's in it. Godshon?
We'll
Getting further away as you go.
go around the
Gina
circle
Gershon.
and tell what your favourite Nicolas Cage. Obviously, you won't have one, but everyone else. What's like when you think of Nicolas Cage? What do you think of? Because I think of National Treasure because that was kind of big when I was a kid. I think of City of Angels because it was a shitty remake of fucking Wings of Desire.
I think Con Air is the one that
Con
springs to mind
Air,
for me.
yeah.
I'm all about Vampire's Kiss.
Vampire's Kiss,
Never seen
which
it.
such a phenomenal film. Like, it's this really super campy film where he's like a CEO of a big company, but he's also a vampire. It's just fucking... It's
ridiculous.
That's the whole concept. It's bonkers.
Oh, no, I have seen Ghost Rider.
Oh, well done.
Well done.
Yay.
Proud of you. You've seen maybe the worst film apart from this one. Proud of you. Yeah, he's like a... I don't even want to say he's like divisive, because I think he's very Marmite in the sense that, yeah, people either hate him or loathe watching him. But he's also either really good or just fucking awful.
Has he won an Oscar?
I think if he has, it would be for something like Hannah, yeah, you guys get on the phone while I talk. It'd be something for like Leaving Las Vegas or something like that. I think that was his most kind of serious film role. Tell me if I'm right, because I'm...
Yeah, he won the Best Actor in Leaving Las Vegas.
Fuck yeah.
And the Best Actor... No, hang on, it says Adaptation.
Oh, no, the film's called Adaptation.
Oh, is
Yeah.
It was an adaptation of a previous film called Adaptation.
Adaptation, yeah. It's a good film, actually. It's pretty bitch. So he is capable. He's a competent actor.
Well, I got over the whole is he good or is he bad thing when I realised that he will just do any job he's asked to do.
He's
Just happy to work.
When you
He's
get
just
paid a
good at
shitload to
whatever he
do
does.
it, like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
who fucking cares?
He's like the human equivalent of best worst movies. Like, as a person, he's the best. He's like best worst person. It's just sometimes he's the best, sometimes he's the fucking worst, and I love it. This was directed by a relatively well, for me anyway. He's got a lot of films under his credit. Neil LaBute. I've not seen anything else he's done. I know he did
Black Chicks was
Black
one.
Chicks, Death at the Funeral. He did the Van Helsing series, which I think is quite popular. But Hannah's eyes lit up. You've got this weird thing for Van Helsing as
No,
a
I loved
property.
that movie when I was a kid, and then I rewatched it when we came to uni, and it broke my heart
Yeah,
with just
no,
how
it doesn't hold
fucking
up.
The whole thing,
diabolical
yeah.
it was.
Me and Hannah were arguing the good fight that the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing film was an absolute classic. Both hadn't seen it for about a decade, I think, at this point. And Liam was like, "It's an absolute piece of shit. It's a complete
It's
piece
terrible.
of shit." And we were like, "No, it's a good film. It's a good film. It's a good film." And then we rewatched it and went, "Oh, I hate it when he's right."
He's always fucking right.
I'm always fucking right. No, it's awful. But yeah, this he's also directing a Singaporean version of Bridget Jones's Diary, apparently.
That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting one. Would be considered a box office failure when it came out. I think it made a 38 million profit off a 40 million budget.
That's not profit then, is it? Fucking stonks.
This is why I don't do the stonks. But obviously, with factoring in like Blu-ray sales and whatnot, it's probably made its money back at this point.
And it's free on
probably made
Amazon
it-
Prime at the time of recording.
Yeah, it is. So it will have done. We were excited. We're gonna. This is like the obviously. I've not seen this in years. I think I saw this about 5 or 6 years ago when we started getting into our best worst phase. We watched it. I remember. I don't know if you guys joined us for this or whether it was just the other guys we lived with back then.
I definitely wasn't there because this
No,
is
me either.
my
First time for you two.
Well, Ghost Rider apparently my
You?
only introduction into.
Oh
Nicolas
yeah,
Cage.
I've absolutely seen it.
I've seen so many clips of it. I feel like I've seen it because it's on just like montage after montage
It's
of like,
heavily memed at this point, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like there's
Yeah.
the obvious, not the bees.
oh God, not the bees.
And there's the how to get burned. That's like another one. Like it's just everything to do with Nicolas Cage is always so highly memeable.
It's
Anyway,
been absolutely ages since I've watched this, and all I can remember are the specific scenes, and I know it's like weird shit going on, but really, there's parts of it I think are quite unmemorable, and I'm worried I'm going to watch it
Yeah.
and get bored partway through.
So is this one set in Scotland as well as the original?
from my memory, I would say yes, but he's an American detective. He's not a.
What the fuck's he doing in Scotland then?
That's a blank part. Of my memory. I can't
Call
remember that.
Interpol. Why is there like some hick cop going to Scotland to solve a crime?
I hope it's not. He's not doing a British accent because that's another element that I don't think Nicolas Cage can handle. But yeah, I think we're kind of. I'm excited to see this because it has been a long time for me as well, and I think obviously you two have not seen this. You just come back from watching the original, so you got that fresh in your head as well.
Yeah, I feel like
That's
this
a high
might.
bar, right?
Yeah, I'm worried how this is going to stand up to it because that was fantastic. Like it was, I didn't
It
have
was-
any preconceptions for it either. And when
Yeah.
we watched it, there was a couple of times we looked at each other like, "What the fuck's going on?" But it was a good "What the fuck's going
It's a
on" kind of
trip.
thing. Yeah,
No,
it's
yeah,
a,
I had no idea what I was in for with the OG Wicker Man, and I didn't realize how overtly sexual it was for a start, and how just like weirdly kind of creepy. I expected something
Yeah.
far more tribal. I don't know, with someone gets burnt alive with in a huge wicker thing. I expected it to be more.
gory, I would say, but it was
Well,
just
not even that. I expected it to be not set in Scotland.
less
you
humorous,
know,
maybe, yeah.
I expected it to be set somewhere really far flung. I didn't expect it to be on.
I mean,
The Summer Isles, which is like a stone's throw away from where we've been on holiday, and it was a weird one. I didn't know what to expect.
well, again, like all the people involved in the original, they weren't that pleased with this either. Like you talk about like the director, the original director, Rob. Right, I was so nervous about saying his name because his name is Robin Hardy. I've just been spending like days and days and days being engrossed in George Hardy from Troll 2, and that's all I can think about. So yeah, the original director Robin Hardy had a massive problem with this. Christopher Lee had a problem with this, one of the actors in the main, the original film.
Disassociated themselves from it, didn't they?
And they kind of made their own. I think it came out a couple of years after this. They made their own kind of side sequel called The Wicker Tree, which I've heard is abysmal. I know Christopher Lee's not in it, but I think Robin Hardy made it. I don't think we're going to give that one a watch. I don't know. It might be a bit of a bore. Like, I'm ready to watch the trailer if you guys are, and we'll have a little chat about that.
Did you just try to do an accent again?
Oh, man.
I thought you trailed off
I'm going to get on my trailer. I'm not doing that. I don't know.
Please stop.
Okay, you ready? You want to watch them? I kind of want to. Jack just dropped dead. Jack just died. And just fell over.
But I got better.
Let's watch the trailer. Go watch it with us, guys, and come back in about 2 or 3 minutes.
I fear she is in danger, so now I turn to you. Be careful and believe nothing that you see or hear.
Lost your bearings?
Hey, sorry, snuck up on me there.
This is private property.
Do you know her?
I don't recognize this child.
What are you doing? Getting the crinkles
Are you
out?
really getting a packet of fucking sweets out as we're about to record? As if that's the worst fucking idea I've ever heard.
I need mouth cleansing. I've got no liquids.
Because that was such a long trailer. And you did so much talking
such a
during
stressful experience watching that
It
2-minute
was.
trailer.
All right, no, it was flashing constantly. I thought I was going to have an epileptic fit.
Don't you put a sweet in your mouth, you fucking idiot. Jack and me are the only professionals here, clearly.
I'm laughing at that. I am anything but professional.
Weird fucking trailer. Like, I think I picked up on how it just looks like the original, but shit. And that, like, plot-wise, it's the exact same beats. It's missing girl.
What was with the daddy at the end?
It could be the start of a shit Marvel origin story, couldn't it?
Like Ghost Rider.
Starting with starting with like the horrific bus crash car thing. It's so American, so like Hollywood.
Yeah.
Such like zesty, like flashy trailer sort of thing. I don't.
Ghost Rider 3.
I haven't watched
Wicker Man. Sorry, I did talk over you there. He told me off for talking over him earlier, and I just realized I did it immediately.
Thanks for mansplaining that one. But yeah, it's stark contrast to the original. You can see elements of it, like the school whose desk is that scene and all. Like
And the burning Wicker Man effigy.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it's about it.
But the obvious similarities to the other one. Is it an all-female island this time?
So I think that's the biggest difference is that, and there was a little bit of controversy because
Is it witches versus the patriarchy?
I don't know. There are men on it, so it's not like an all-women island, but I think it's a women-ran island. I know probably the biggest actress in this, Ellen Burstyn. She's like of The Exorcist fame. She's horror like icon. She's legendary in the horror universe.
She's absolutely bursting.
She needs a piss. No, she's fantastic. She's in Requiem for a Dream as well. She's wonderful. I don't know how they got her involved in this because she's an Oscar winner. And to be fair, Nicolas Cage, I guess the both. It does look like it's almost like a reverse Handmaid's Tale situation where the women are in charge and the men are just subservient. I don't really know. It's a weird one.
It looks like it's had an American director, and an American cast, and an American writer, compared to. I don't know what nationality the original one was, but it looks very just spray it with a Hollywood coat of paint and resell it.
There's definitely a cultural divide here. I think because we were wondering. I mean, before we watched the trailer, I said I thought this was set in Scotland, but it clearly doesn't look like it is. He gets on a boat to somewhere.
Yeah, and that wasn't Scotland. That was like Hawaiian
that was like
beaches
a fucking
or something.
ferry. That
wasn't
you wouldn't travel from the US to Scotland in that cone, would you? Excuse my French.
Ryan, you've been upsettingly quiet throughout this entire time.
Upsettingly quiet?
Ryan was just getting over his epileptic
Yeah.
fit.
Oh, it's really done me in. It's a lot more exciting in the trailer than what I remember the movie being.
It's because that trailer's 2 minutes long and the movie's an hour and a half.
It was just flashing action scene after action scene. I don't remember being that many interesting points in the movie.
Well, we'll find out. It's probably not that interesting. I wouldn't get excited.
I'm not excited.
I mean, it's Nicolas Cage. I'm here for that. I'm here for the memes. I'm here for the quotes. I'm here just to see how fucking wrong this gets it. I remember like it's that divide. With the original, I think, and again, I'm not going to linger on the original, but it's that whole thing about humor of the. I don't want to say British people have better humor because I don't want to alienate everyone in America, but I just feel like we get that.
You say we do, but what's your favourite sitcom? The US Office.
This is true. This is very true.
Parks and Rec.
Or 30 Rock.
Or Community.
Right,
We just have a drier sense of
before
humour.
we go down the...
Especially with horror. Like, I feel like if you're mixing horror with humor, you think of the best horror comedies, you think of shit like Shaun of the Dead and American Werewolf in London, you think of I think of the British ones. So I think with horror and blending that with humor, I think British people get it better. No offense to my American listeners, I'm sorry. I know there is some really good American horror films like Cabin in the Woods, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, that do blend comedy fantastically together.
What's the one that's American Rejects, which isn't American Rejects?
American Rejects.
The Devil's Rejects.
The Devil's Rejects.
I hate you.
I know.
But I don't. I think this is one that may have tried to blend that horror and comedy and just fucking failed miserably. Oh wait, well, failed spectacularly.
Nicolas Cage still insists it's like a black comedy, and it's not unintentionally funny. It's meant to be. Funny.
I think it probably is. This is the thing because the original is. I would classify the original as a horror comedy
in the right ways.
Yeah. In the right
it had
ways,
comic timing.
The
it had
original
funny scripts. Good job.
And I know say it's creepy, funny. I wouldn't say it's a horror comedy. The original.
The original told a really beautiful line between silly and serious.
That's it.
Like,
Silly.
Yeah,
That's
to be
the
fair,
word,
that bit with
yeah.
Christopher Lee in a skirt and a wig.
with his
dancing,
just
that was
standard
superb.
trainers on. But anyway, yeah, 0.5.
So yeah, but again, I remember the director saying that Neil Dubuque, the guy who did this one, saying that he was kind of going to get hate regardless of what he did. Like he was pretty much adamant that people are going to hate this even before I make it.
So why did he make it?
Oh, money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it made loads of that.
Sorry, you look like you're about to say something. You do this every time where you look like you're going to say something and then you don't say
just
anything.
constantly prepared.
All right, like a cat, like reflexes. Sexy cat. What are we? Right, we're gonna watch this really soon. What are we all expecting? I'm expecting a failed, pretty much copy of the first film, which with shit humor, and I'm half excited. I'm half excited because yeah, it might be funny trash. It might be boring trash. Who knows?
I'm looking forward to being part of the conversation on it. It's just, like, I'm looking
just
forward to
happy to be
being able to
invited.
have an opinion on it because I've not seen it, and obviously it is a big thing in meme culture, etc. So yeah, it'd be interesting to actually have my own standpoint on what this absurd is going to be.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so based on the fact that I don't find it memorable, I'm not excited. It might surprise me. Hopefully the scenes will jump back out at me and I'll laugh my ass off, but I'm not holding out much hope.
I love Nicolas Cage, so bring it on.
So do you reckon you're going to stay awake through the whole thing then?
You will.
And I stayed awake for the quite slow 1970s version.
Yeah.
I think I can stay awake for the,
Are we
jump scare Hollywood.
Are we putting a bet on anyway, just in case? Because I think it's right. Can I win if he makes it? Like if I say, oh, night, yeah.
No, because I'm with you on that.
I'm just going to put in an advert. Why not? Throw my penny in. I'm going to say...
It's only when watching late that I tend to fall asleep.
that's
It's 5
true.
o'clock.
He's not narcoleptic, Hannah. He's just fucking busy. He's just got shit to do.
I'm ready to get this over with.
I'm ready to do it. So if you have Amazon Prime, go watch it. It's free on there, and come back to us in an hour and a half. Bye, guys. And we have returned from the Summer Isles. It was fucking awful. I don't know what I'm doing. Right, and we're back, and we have just come back from watching The Wicker Man 2006. It was fucking awful. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not kidding.
No, it wasn't great. It was like mildly entertaining from time to time. So we'll start with like first reactions. Like, what did we enjoy this? Did we not?
I'll be honest, I nearly fell asleep during parts of it.
Yeah, you were
Jack.
very comfy.
We were all almost Jack.
But no, the worst interest. I'm more confused than I feel like they could have cut the first 20 minutes of the movie. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
Oh, that opening scenes where girl and the mother's in the car and Nicolas Cage sees them get smashed by a truck. He blames himself for whatever reasons. Yeah. But then he just keeps showing it throughout the entire movie, these flashbacks, and they have very little significance.
I think that leads on to probably a good time to do a little plot synopsis because that's it opens with this weird car crash. Nicolas Cage tries to kind of pull over a woman and his daughter, and then
he's returning the doll.
But I think Jack, you're going to do our 30-second plot synopsis, aren't you? Because it kind of picks up after that.
I don't think it'll take even that.
It won't.
But in a nutshell, a reclusive lawman played by Nick Cage travels to a secluded island to search for a girl who's gone missing after witnessing a pretty unpleasant sort of motor vehicle accident at the start of the film. Once there, he discovers sinister forces at work among the island's secretive residents, including strange rituals, a harvest festival, and possible human sacrifice.
Possible.
Definitely. Potential.
It's called the Wicker Man.
It's on the cards.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Sorry.
I'd just like to retract our initial thing. So Amazon is listing the original Wicker Man.
Oh, yes.
So we saw on Amazon, included with Prime, the Wicker Man, and it said 2006 next to it.
So pissed off.
We started watching it, and it turns out it's actually the 1973 version, which,
so pissed off.
from a consumer perspective, is the better film. So if you were looking forward to watching either of them, then you're in luck, mate, because we paid fucking £4 for it, not realizing that was actually the Wicker Man 1973. So a little bit of consumer advice for you there.
Yeah, best advice you could get taking away from this podcast is go watch the original. It's for free on Amazon. You don't have to pay for it. It's fucking awesome. Don't watch this one. So kind of, Ryan, your first point with the I think one of the weirdest directing choices of all time is to make this flashback scene that happens at the beginning of the movie the most pivotal point of the movie, to the point where I feel like if you took this out, the movie would be 20 minutes shorter.
Literally,
Easy.
At least 20 minutes shorter, but not change any part of how you conceive this. It just didn't play into it at all.
It's not often when I say a 90-minute film is too long. That first hour was so slow. Fuck me.
But even in that, they had things like the self-help book to help them get over that accident. And it just never really
the
became a plot
self-help book
point.
came before the accident. He was getting his it did. The self-help book was the first scene. It was before she. So what was the point in the self-help book?
They do bring it up because it's taken from his luggage. When he gets to Summer Isle, they say, "Oh, where's what's it called?" Because it's such a funny name. It's something like dealing with it's everything's okay. Everything's okay, which is the most generic title of the self-help
this guy
book.
with the cheesy grin and the thumbs up.
Also, what was with the 4-second cameo of, was it Aaron Eckhart and James Franco?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Aaron Eckhart is like a guy in the first scene with the diner where he's just fucking popping. He just like pops up and then leaves.
On screen for 3
Does he
seconds.
even have any lines? No. He's just there. Like, was he not famous in 2006? When did Batman come out? When did Dark Knight?
Like 2008.
So that
was huge.
I don't fucking know. Maybe. Well, this director seems to have good connections. Like, we're currently looking at the TV screen that says for Johnny Ramone, and we had to Google whether or not that was Johnny Ramone as in the Ramones, and apparently it is.
Apparently Nick Cage were.
Yeah, they were buddies.
Yeah.
So maybe he has just really good. I mean, he probably has really good connections. I feel like Nick Cage is a nice guy to hang out with. I would want to be his friend.
Yeah, I'd like a coffee and a catch up with Nick Cage.
I mean, ultimately, we've all kind of said good moments, bad movie, or entertaining moments, bad movie. I think for me, one of the biggest, because we are going to end up comparing this to the original. I think that's going to be inevitable because you wouldn't make a remake of such a classic film without warranting those comparisons. The biggest thing that's off for me is the lack of interesting soundtrack. Like the original has such a dynamic, folksy, omnipresent.
The soundtrack sort of played into the whole theme of the movie, which was paganism versus Christianity, and there just wasn't any of that here. I mean, what would they have had? Like the B-movie soundtrack? Like it's just
it was just generic, suspenseful film backdrop.
Yeah,
It
it
was of no substance whatsoever.
Which I think lends to I think that's the tone of the film altogether. Like, they've replaced every scene that was dripping in tension in the original. It's like this masterfully crafted scenes of atmosphere and dread are replaced with jump scares or generic horror imagery. Like, we were discussing the scene with in the schoolyard where Nicolas Cage opens the Rowan's desk. The little girl who's gone missing, he goes to her desk and opens a desk. And in the original, there's this kind of fucked up scene where one of the girls has tied a beetle to a string and just kind of is waiting to see it fucking curl itself up and die.
Well, that has symbology.
Yeah. Well, the maple. Yeah, you're right.
It'll always go in the same direction up until it winds itself right up tight to the nail, symbolising Nick Cage constantly going around this island, getting closer and closer to his own death without realising it.
But in this one, they have a crow fly out and scary crow noises and jump scare, fucking generic noughties horror movie bullshit. Yeah, it's like everything that was played subtly is played at 100 here. Like there's not an inch of subtlety in any of this, and it really. I don't know how you guys found the first one. Did you guys find you two didn't really find it scary, did you?
I wouldn't say scary.
I think the problem with when we watched the first one is we knew the ending. I think had we not known the ending,
I mean, it's called the fucking Wicker Man. It's not like it's not a shock, is it?
You didn't know what was going to happen and who was going to be in the Wicker Man and all that sort of stuff. But because we knew the ending, we sort of preempted it. But it still had that eerie, sort of slightly off sense to it. Whereas this one, it was just someone's going to burn. Someone's going to burn. Did you know? Someone's going to burn.
Someone's going to burn.
Yeah, within like 5 minutes of the film, like they talked. Well, within him getting to the 5 minutes of him getting to the island, they mentioned the Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man.
And it was never explicitly said right up until the end of the original to keep that kind of element of suspense, It was very deadpan. It was all a bit like, or is it? Every time a line was said, it's all like it was a bit too wink, wink, nudge, nudge with the delivery of the lines. It felt...
A massive issue, like I think we all had, was the fact that they change up a lot of the pagan aspects. I know you, especially Ryan, had issues with the fact that they kind of don't even mention religion at all, which is such a prevalent theme in the first.
Yeah, it took out a lot of the interesting components for me. I loved watching the Christian copper, our avatar, going in and saying, this is freaky, your beliefs are wrong, you shouldn't believe this, whereas Nick Cage isn't there to put down their beliefs. Or even the whole matriarchy thing the island has going on, that's not particularly massively themed. He's not super patriarchy or anti-feminism. He's just a regular kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it's not interesting. They don't have that back and forth.
I mean, I think it would be an interesting concept for a horror movie. That sounds like a fucking awesome idea. This island run by women, but you're right, Ryan. They do nothing with it. There's no follow up. There's no point to it. It's not as if you're right. It's not as if it's trying to make. If it is trying to make a sexist, because I think this is kind of a big point of contention, whether or not this director is either making a feminist movie or a highly sexist movie, or even if he's trying to do either. If it's feminism, it's like feminism with a fucking sledgehammer. Like there's nothing subtle. Like you can't do. I don't know. You can't do like a thematic movie like this and make it so fucking overt. I don't know. I feel like the first one, you're right, does get away with being thematic and having these themes of religion and religion versus kind of spirituality or whatever it is. This one tries to have these themes of feminism and just fucking falls on its face.
So heavy-handed. Even the end, you just get this massive list of exposition. He's exactly how we tricked you into coming to this island.
Yeah, they literally say that. This is the entire plan laid out in front of you, and because our audience is too fucking dumb. Maybe... I don't know. Like,
Shall we take a step back and just review the setup of the film?
Let's do it. Go on.
Because we've jumped straight to the end there.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
He's a cop. He gets a doll. This lorry comes out of nowhere, despite the fact he looked left and right before crossing the road and gets just like KO'd by this lorry.
Yeah.
He watches these two people's car explode, then still gets a commendation for it, according to his cop buddy.
Yeah, but they mention as well that there was no people found in the car. That's never explained.
So what's he getting fucking commended for?
It's literally never explained. There's this car that's burst, that's been hit by a truck. It's the whole theme of the movie because it's his flashbacks throughout, but these people disappeared who were in the car. That's never explained. The car was definitely there because they said that the car was being...
You could have had something interesting, I think, with this. You could have leaned into, is this guy mental? Is this guy got a series of, I don't know, mental health issues where he's struggling with, I don't know, the breakup of his girlfriend? I don't fucking know. You could have done something interesting with that idea of, is this guy just losing his mind at the start? And is kind of him being sent here, I don't know, some kind of punishment, or I don't fucking know. But you're right, again, it's an interesting concept that they just forget about. They don't even refer back to it.
But they don't forget about it. It's flashed back to every 10 minutes.
We
it's
see
just
that,
never
But it had no real significance in the grand scheme of
If you
things.
took that out, it would not change the plot.
Well, in my mind, what I thought was going to happen was that these two were part of the Summer Islands and they were part of this trick to put him in a state of mind where he would be receptive to going. But at the end, when they give the exposition, it's not mentioned in their grand scheme plan, so presumably nothing to do with them.
And then you get the classic lazy read a letter aloud in the person, in the recipient's voice.
Magical self-talking letter.
Yeah, the Harry Potter letter, the howler or whatever it was in Harry Potter.
Which, that actress, I mean, you Hannah had an issue with her. Like, she is so... The actress who
just
plays
finish
Willow
a bloody sentence.
will not, and she even does it. She has this issue with the entire thing. Every time she has a conversation with someone, she stutters and she pauses and she just can't finish her to the point where Nicolas Cage's character is like doing them for her. He's like, you can't finish a sentence, I'll fucking do it, fine.
He gets so fed up with her partway through there's a scene where she's showing him her daughter's bedroom and he's trying to ask her for information about her, and every time she goes to say something it's just stuttery and useless and whimsy and just ugh, and he's just like, I don't care, just tell me more. He cuts her off left, right and centre. But I sort of appreciated that because as an audience that's what I wanted him to do. I was like, stop her rambling.
Stop.
Even in this opening letter, she's still stuttering in the fucking letter. Like, what is she writing? Is she writing the stutters in? Dot, comma, I don't fucking know. Yeah, it's one of those weird ones where everything kind of fails so drastically that you are going to get these scenes of unintentional comedy. Not who was it that was telling me before we watched this that this was the director said that this was intended to be? Yeah, Jack, you were saying
no. Nicolas Cage.
Oh,
said
Nicolas Cage was.
It was meant to be a bit of a black comedy, and you said the bits that are unintentionally funny are intentionally funny.
That's fucking bullshit. I'm calling it right now.
That's hard to believe.
I think the first time I laughed out loud, I looked at the clock and it was 50 minutes in.
Yeah.
It was at the harbour where he thinks he's saving the drowned girl, but then he realizes he's daydreaming, and then he realizes that was a daydream as well, and it was like, like the
double wake
dreams on
up,
dreams
yeah.
on dreams, like it's like that fucking Rick and Morty Inception piss take sort of vibe where it's just like that was a flashback inside a flashback inside another flashback.
That's it. Like you're right. I mean, there are humorous moments. There are moments to enjoy in this. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't have fun. It's an immensely quotable film. Like I can probably pull out 4 or 5 quotes from my arse. The first one, what's in the bag? A shark. Which there's a scene where he arrives and all the women, obviously matriarchal, and all the women are holding this like dripping bag that's dripping blood. And as a police officer, my first instinct would be like, right, open the fucking bag.
It's kicking as well. It's not like it's just a limp bag.
It's like spasming every now and then. It looks like a human as well. Yeah. Like it's the same size, the same sort of weight. Like it's taken 2 big men to carry it.
And then they give him a bit of a fright, and he's like, "Oh, I guess I'll not."
Okay.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. And then there's like obviously the not the bees, the how to get burned. There are immensely.
You're mispronouncing that.
Sorry,
sounds
go on,
inbreeding to me.
I like that one, Jack. I think.
How did it get burned?
There we go.
How did it get burned?
But it's punctuated by these dragging scenes of boredom and nothing and just kind of meandering bullshit. Like every scene in between these entertaining scenes, in between these bits of unintentional comedy are just dull. Like there's nothing scary, there's nothing interesting. Most of the scenes are him running around the fucking island. If it's not a flashback, it's just him running from house to house asking people, have you seen this fucking girl? Have you seen this fucking girl? There's no momentum.
And what was with that scene when he was running from house to house? And there was the guy.
There was a very similar scene in the 1973 one where he was running around the village, realizing it was empty. Though
not when he was, but the actual scenes that you saw when he was in the houses, like the guy sat in the bed with all the bee stings, the girl just sat there poised with all the bees, like
the bee bees.
I think it was
the bee bees.
I think the director, I reckon he was trying to mimic the similar scenes in the original.
Which there was.
Like he burst into a room and there was just a woman naked in the bath. But I think the film was initially rated R and they cut some of that out because they wanted it to be PG-13.
But
so to reach a wider audience.
Those particular scenes.
Yeah, like the scene where the girl falls out of the wardrobe, he thinks he's dead, and then she gets up and goes, "Wait."
Yeah.
No, that was
like shot the same.
In the first one, they have all this religious symbology and all these themes all the way through. So when he's running from room to room, and it's not even that crazy what he sees in the original.
No.
But when we come to this one, it's not had those themes other than bees constantly thrown in your face, which this scene is, and it's just mad because there's a person sat bee beard.
But again, I think ultimately the film has a tonal problem because that scene would have. I think the scene with the weird guy in the bed or the woman with the beard of bees might have worked in the original because the original consistently has this odd, eerie, peculiar, almost humorous, like intentionally humorous feel. Whereas this one is a straight-laced, boring horror film, and then here's some random weird imagery that would have fit better in a film that was actually about random weird fucking people.
And again, it was just the unsubtlety of it. I think where you go to the doctor's house and there was like fetuses and dead babies in jars, and in the original there was like dead. What looked like a dog maybe and stuff like that in a jar and things pickled. But it was just like let's just tone it up another notch and just put dead babies in the jar because dead babies are creepy. Oh, while I'm on that, what's with the fucking twins? What's with the creepy twins? There was about 3 sets of creepy twins in that. Did he watch The Shining once and go, like, that's it. That's what I need that in my film to make it a scary film. That's what made The Shining good. It was the creepy twins, nothing else. I would say
they were good twins though. When they spoke in unison, it was very unified.
It was exactly they were the ones in a series of unfortunate events on Netflix, weren't they? Liam pointed that out.
You are right though, Jack. It's one of those things where it's something that's brought up that comes out of nowhere, that has no substance, has no point, has no bearing on the plot. It's like, there's a few sets of twins. You could have. I don't fucking know what do you want me to do with that
it's
information?
Style over substance, isn't it? Every decision was style over substance.
How
really.
and how did they convince Oscar winner Ellen Burstyn to do a piss poor performance? I'm sorry,
great.
No, she's boring as sin. That is the role. If you are going to take this role, that's the role where you play it up.
You need the charismatic cult leader, don't you? The Manson.
The way Christopher Lee does it in the original is so flamboyant, so over the top, and she plays it at like 10 miles per hour. She's fucking cruising in this role. And again, it amounts to absolutely nothing. Like, there are scenes that, again, just come out of fucking nowhere with him, like, getting tortured for 10 minutes before. In the original, it was very much a process. It was like, we need to do this. We don't want to hurt you, but we're doing it for our crops. In this one, we're like, put some bees on his fucking head.
Break his legs.
Break his
I can
fucking
sort
legs.
of
And also-
get the breaking of the legs because that you know,
Yeah.
he can't crawl. But what's the point in the bee stinging him?
Why did they try to nearly drown him the night before if they needed him for the sacrifice in the following day?
Oh, and the barn. He was searching the barn, and the floor collapses, and there's a bunch of pitchforks underneath him, and he's led there by Rowan.
Yeah.
So
Bullshit,
what was
man.
the crack? Did he have to like overcome these trials first,
No, it's
or was it just a bit of
just to give the
Just
film-
the bands.
Just a bit of
While
fun.
he's here, we might.
It makes no logical sense. It's just to give the film a little bit of suspense, I think, isn't it?
It's
Really,
just
there's
yeah.
no real need for it at all.
Throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, basically, and nothing really stuck.
I really like. I don't have loads to say on this movie. Really, for me, it comes down to the fact that bigger isn't always better.
Yeah.
It's gotten a big budget. It's done in America. It's shot nicely, but part of the problem is, like, for example, the costumes. They're too well put together.
The
All
makeup at the festival as well
The
was
makeup at
too
the festival,
professionally done.
yeah.
It didn't look like some crazy occult.
culty backwater people trying to slap together these costumes with little resources. These are professionally done. They lose the creepy factor.
That's it. I mean, it's absolutely what it is. It's a case of no subtlety equaling just, I don't know, this level of bombast that just makes it so obvious. I think that's the word I want to pick. It's obvious. Like, in the original, you might know, at this point, it's fucking 40 years old. You probably know how it ends. But there's still that tension, and there's still that suspense, and there's still that, like, I was saying, like, do you think watching that, I know the ending and I'm still massively entertained. Watching this, I know the ending and I'm ready to switch off. There were a few times where I was like, I could walk out and I could. This is one of those films I didn't really want to sit through. I was like sitting through for those moments, and that's pretty much it. Like, there's a pretty interesting Nicolas Cage performance in it. It's probably not one of the best Nicolas Cage performances. It's even for Nicolas Cage, it's understated. I guess it's no Face Off. I don't know.
No,
I think we're all a bit fucking.
Just a bit blur from it, to be honest. I mean, what's
Potential-
mad is that 80% of the lines in the movie are from the original.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so that the script's basically the same.
But
Like,
they're said in different connotations as well,
yeah.
and the way they say the lines and the delivery's off, and
Yeah.
it changes the whole thing up and it makes it worse.
I hate to say this because I don't want to come off as offending anyone from America, but it's an Americanization of a British classic. Like, that's the problem, and it doesn't work. You see it in TV shows when they try and like remake, I don't think, In-Betweeners or Skins, and it's
Or the
just,
IT crowd.
it doesn't translate. Yeah, it was always a really British property. It couldn't really have been done any other way. Maybe in somewhere like, you see something like Midsummer. You guys haven't seen Midsummer. Midsummer captures the dread in something like The Wicker Man, I think, perfectly. This is just.
I think with
all over
the
the place.
original as well, it was based in Scotland, and that's where it was, and it would be maddening to think that they could grow fruit and stuff like that on an
Yeah.
island in Scotland. It wouldn't be plausible, which makes it sort of adds to the mystical element. Is there a god thing there? Do they have to sacrifice it for this like whole vegetation thing to work? But here it was bees in a Caribbean island. Well, good duh. Like,
Good duh.
Yeah, they said the harvest is bad. Bees don't give a shit about the harvest. Like, what the fuck have they got to do with it?
Bees gonna be no, you're right. Like, even the name of the festival, like in the original, they call it like the May Festival. It's what it is.
it's actually got a lot of like
There's-
connections to
yeah.
the actual things
And
that
it
went
works.
on as well. Whereas this one's
In
just
this one, the Festival of Death and Rebirth.
No,
death and
no.
rebirth. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
there's
no.
about a
Death and
15-second pause. The
Rebirth.
Festival of Death
It's just too obvious.
They did
and
have
Rebirth.
they did have a maypole in the background of one of the scenes as a nod to the first movie. That's as much as we got from that.
Yeah.
I like the way where the scene where he held that woman at gunpoint for her bike.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Nah, it's just a bad movie. I think I'm kind of ready to stop talking about this one.
What were your favourite scenes? Out of interest, what was everyone's favourite scene?
There wasn't one. I called this before I started watching it. It was unmemorable for me the first time. This is unmemorable. If I had a favourite scene, it's the fact that the end fixed one of the issues I had with the first one.
Okay.
In the first one, I watched him get put in the Wicker Man and I was shouting, why are you not trying to escape this? It looks flimsy as hell. You could climb out the back, break the front gate. You could at least try and do a run it.
He wasn't even tied up, was he?
Wasn't even tied up. Why did you not try and tackle Christopher Lee off the cliff, take yourself down to the festival? In this one, at least, They took his bullets out of his gun so he couldn't shoot them. They broke his legs so he couldn't get out. Stung with bees, I'm guessing, to make him weak and feeble.
Yeah.
And then they hoisted him up into the head by a rope. So even if he got out, he'd fall to his death. Sorted. They
agreed.
got that down. That's how you kill someone as a sacrifice.
It makes a lot more sense. It actually works. Like, yeah. Favorite. You're absolutely right, Ryan. Favorite scene for me is him roundhouse kicking that woman in the roundhouse kicking this woman in the face, and she flies backwards and just fucking snaps her neck. Basically,
Oh, she flies against the wall and takes all the pictures down. Her eyes roll for a few seconds in the head before she passes out.
There are like this like the scenes. Anytime he hit, like he's just like going around hitting women all the time.
It was like 10 minutes where it was just a montage of him in various outfits, like the bear just kamikaze that
punching women. Yeah. I still think it's the boat bit for me when he tries to get the radio from the plane. And he swims under because he thinks he sees the girl, and it was just all a dream / fantasy sequence. And it's just like, oh, fuck me, that's so lazy.
There is something about waking up from a dream twice. It's one of those, oh my god, it was a dream. Oh my god, it was like I don't know if any of our listeners have ever seen Annie Donna, but it reminds me of that Annie Donna sketch where Mark goes to sleep after he's killed that guy.
Why you shouldn't rise, Mark? Why you just go to sleep when we killed someone?
Hannah, did you have a favourite scene?
I would say near the beginning, actually, I think the shark scene.
Yeah.
What have you got there? A shark?
Is it a shark? Yeah, it might be. Final thoughts for me. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's kill this thing.
None of the charm or the humor of the original. No genuine terror. It's a lot less fun as a whole. Like the original is a slow film. It's slow, but it's never boring. This is fast.
I'd say the first half hour in the original was a bit of a drag,
Do you
but it
think?
was still intriguing in its own way.
Charming, though.
No, I agree. It was.
Yeah.
It had its charm.
Yeah.
It had the folk music, the quaint setting.
Yeah.
There was a lot to be interested and kind of intrigued about, even though it was slow.
Yeah.
Whereas this just didn't have that.
That's the thing. This one's This one ostensibly is a fast movie. It's fast paced. Shit is happening. He's constantly running around. But unlike the original, it's boring as sin. Everything here is just kind of nasty. There's no fun. It's
fast paced, but he's on like a train.
Yeah.
He's still going nowhere.
Yeah,
It's still like
that's
there's just
the best advice I could give you is you should YouTube the funniest clips and then just leave it at that.
Yeah,
my
fair
review.
off.
Or
Then go watch the original.
It's free on Amazon Prime. Skip it in for
Yeah.
the first 50 minutes and then just watch the last 45.
Pretty much, yeah. The last 40 is pretty.
All you need to know from the first 50 minutes is he's gone to an island to look for a girl. Him and Willow used to date. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah, Liam, you've literally took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I think about the movie. I'm never going to watch it again now that we've done this. And again, I just want to reiterate, bigger isn't always better. Just because you're pumping loads of money into shit and then making things massive, it's not going to make it great. You've lost what made the first one so charming and quaint and special, and that's just been gone and replaced with every ordinary trope you can think of.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna? Jack?
That's my final thoughts.
Funny at times, but not an hour and a half's worth of content.
No.
Funny. Yeah, watch the best bits on YouTube or just skip the first hour of the film if you're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Just watch the original.
Yeah, ultimately just watch the original. Wouldn't recommend.
The original's free. This one I paid £3.49 for, and I regret it.
Free and awesome.
And awesome.
Well, this next week's movie at least going to be more entertaining.
So, next week, thank you for listening to our Wicker Man episode, guys. Obviously, we've got our 0.5 on the 1973 original Wicker Man. Please do listen to that as well. Next week, do you want to tell us what we're doing next week? Ryan doesn't know what we're doing next week.
I'll give you a clue if you want. Eyes to see you.
Yeah.
Batman! Fuck yeah!
Batman and
Take a chill pill.
and or Robin. Yeah.
That's exciting.
We've got a guest on from the Bear Hug Club podcast on that episode, my good friend Greg. I've known him since I was a young'un. We've known each other for a while. If you've listened to the Bear Hug Club podcast, you'll have seen a little bit of a crossover there. I would recommend it. It's really fun. I know nothing about wrestling. I've got the faintest clue, but it's really enjoyable listening to. I don't know if anyone.
It's a good place to learn.
It's a good place to learn. He'll be joining us next week. We'll be having our 0.5 on just our favorite Batman films. Do check us out on all of our social medias on Instagram and Twitter at Bad Taste Pod. Fuck's sake.
Bad Taste Buds makes a return.
Fuck's sake.
Patent pending. Bad Taste Buds.
Bad Taste Buds Pod. And check us out on Facebook at Bad Taste Buds Podcast and www. I don't need to do that, do I?
Maybe we should have picked a name that was easier to say.
Bad
Taste.
Badtastebuds.com. Hey.
Badtastebuds.com. And If you are, I think if you're listening to this, we will have already given our first giveaway as well. I think we haven't actually decided who that's going to be. We haven't done the randomized.
But well done
generator.
to you, future winner.
Yeah. So whoever you are, we will obviously give you lots of good goodies for that, and then hopefully we'll do one soon as well. Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited. Well, thank you again for listening, guys. We will see you next time, and stay fucking wickery.
Stay wooden.
Well, that's better. Okay, bye.
Love y'all.
Should have said be prepared.